Good afternoon. This is Coming to My Garden on IntellectualRadio.com, and I am Ms. B. Welcome again to the garden. I had a busy weekend this weekend, so we're going to have to get ourselves in our positions and get ourselves in our spots in our garden and breathe in and let it go. Let's do that again. Breathe in that good energy and let it go. Thank you and welcome to the garden. That's right. Come into the garden and spend this time with me, and let's rediscover, plug in, and get some more of the best of our lives. Today, I've got a bit of news to tell you that went on this weekend, especially. I was very honored and privileged to be a part of. Remember, I've been telling you about the ceasefire over in Inglewood. Well, it was Sunday, and it was a wonderful event. And not only did my students show up, but I had several alumni that show up, and the universe even made a way for IntellectualRadio.com to be there. And they were there for the whole afternoon doing their Sunday broadcast. I was so happy and pleased because they're my new family. So I got my old family and my new family, and we were all together yesterday. So I want to thank Earl and Wanda for coming out and supporting Inglewood, because that's what it was about. It was about the young people in Inglewood, and they seemed to have a good time. Now, I want to talk a little bit about yesterday. It was what they call a back to school event, I guess you would call it, where the young people came out and they got haircuts. And it wasn't just young people. We had some seniors that got haircuts as well. I had one of my students cut a gentleman. He was in a wheelchair. And some young man, there's always somebody, lottie-dottie. He was asking the man, said, "Man, let me get your ticket." I said, "What do you want to get this? So I can go get me something to eat. I'll bring the ticket back." And we're like looking at him. I said, "Well, if you take his ticket and you go get something to eat, they're going to collect that ticket." "Oh, no, 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 no. I'm going to bring his ticket back." And the guy, he was no fool. He said, "No, man, you can't have my ticket. I'm getting my hair cut, and then I'm going to go get me something to eat." And I said, "Go on now. Go on now." So, but for the most part, we had a great time. Oh, but did have one guy, one leg up, one leg, one pants leg up, one pants leg down. He went strolling by. I had a couple of T-shirts on our table. I look up the man and grab the T-shirt. I said, "Excuse me." I said, "No, no, dear. No, 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 no. They're not giveaways." "Oh, okay." Then I looked up and I had a bottle of yellow Listerine, because I was told that it helped to uh, uh, ward off mosquitoes. So I had it there just in case. And I looked up and I got the Listerine bottle. I said, "Hey, hey, 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 come on now." But darling, that's the color of our neighborhood. But it was, all in all, a wonderful day. There was this young lady. She sang a Whitney Houston song. Baby, let me tell you, she couldn't have been no more than about 10. She blew that song away. And for all of you that follow me on Facebook, I am terribly sorry, because I had all the best intentions. I was standing there in the hot sun. I'm doing what I think, recording her live. And she finishes singing, and I look I'm going to press my button to finish. And I go, uh-oh, I ain't never pressed the button to start. So unfortunately, you did not get that wonderful young lady singing her song. However, if you go to my Facebook page, you will see there were these three gentlemen who did some harmony. I can't remember what song they were singing. Earl, do you remember the song they were singing? I don't know if it was a Drifter song or that they acapella out, and they reminded all the young folks out there, this is why you have to know your music. You just can't get up there and get all electrified, that electronic stuff that they put on to make you sound like you can sing. But they could sing. Excuse me. So they did another song, an original song, nice stepping tune. And we were told, if you want to, on Tuesday, they will be out there again Okay, Bernadine's got a tickle in her throat. They will be out there again on Tuesday at Ogden Park, and there's going to be an all-day event. All righty, I'm going to have to get a little water. Okay, I'm going to take a break now, and hopefully when I come back, I will be in better voice than I am right now. Okay, y'all. Well, I'm back. That was a good one. I got one of those. You know how you get those? I think it's this season. You get those things in your throat, and that was just my moment in my season. But thank you for being patient, and I'm back on IntellectualRadio.com. Once again, I'm Miss B, and this is Coming to My Garden. I was talking about the ceasefire event that I was at on Sunday, and it wasn't as well attended by barbers as it was last year. We had enough to cover, and thankfully everything worked out well. But the rumor is that some of the barbers decided to make another event, which was being put on by, you know how I say that lighter expression, a school out in Burbank. And they were offered a little more incentive to be out there. The event that was held in Inglewood at Ogden Park was an event of the heart. It was an event where you make or you made an intentional choice to go to serve your community without the reward of any kind of physical compensation, but just the fact that you know that you were doing something to give back to your community for the rewards that you have been given and the gifts that you have been given. And I am very proud of, especially, like I said, my alumni. For those of you that have me on Facebook Live, I want you to do me a favor. And some of those pictures or the videos that I did from Sunday, share them. Share them so that people out there in the communities can see that Inglewood is not just about what you see on TV all the time. It's not just about the way things were portrayed in Chirac. There is more to Inglewood. There's more love in Inglewood than there is violence. There's more love in the world than there is violence. It just makes the news more. And I just want you to share it and let people see how, especially Black men, how they are giving back and serving the community. I also noticed that Channel 5, I don't know if any other stations covered, but Channel 5 had a spot for Suni Powell and the ceasefire event on Sunday. It was on their early news. I don't know if it was on the late news, but I did get to catch it on the regular 5 evening news. And the fact that Intellectual Radio was out there, I'm hoping that they'll make it an annual event for themselves as well, because it was good to have some media presence that was there during the day. And Suni was interviewed later on in the afternoon by one of the Sunday shows so that he could tell all about what was going on. The only thing I have to say to Suni is, if you're watching or if you watch, McCoy Barber College is on 79th and Clyde. Now, I'm not going to name the street that he said because I don't want to confuse anybody, but he did put us on the wrong street. So, Suni, you know I love you, but your school is on 79th and Clyde. All right. With that, I have a few other thank yous that I want to send out. I want to thank all my friends, my Facebook friends, and their personal friends that have been following me with Come Into My Garden. Thank you for your well wishes and your comments. I do see them and I like them. And I just want you to keep on doing that because I really like knowing that you are watching and that you're enjoying what I'm saying. And also, if you have anything that you want to say that I can even pass on, I'd love to do that. Uh, I even have one of my good girlfriends in Indianapolis that is watching or keeping up with the show. And I want to say thank you, Cheryl. She is one of those that I've known since childhood. Her family and my family have been good friends for many, 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 many years. And now we've become like our elders because, except for her mom, all of our elders have made their transitions. So I always send prayers out to her mother because she's such a lovely, wonderful spirit, even with her challenges right now. She is the sweetest spirit that you would ever want to meet. And her daughter keeps her sharp. I mean, she keeps her sharp. And I love that. Remember last week we talked about that caregiving. And she's one of those caregivers that gives to the nth degree. My other thank yous, I want to thank, first of all, I want to thank my students that showed up. I called them my three amigos. They came and I had Miss Green that was there, Mr. Bowden, Mr. Williams. Am I missing anyone? I think I got everyone. And my staff, I really want to thank my staff because my staff showed up and showed out. Miss P, thank you for pitching in. And not only was she cutting hair, she got out there and played with, she was out there playing with the people. She had her boys, little young boys out there. She's playing football. They're out there throwing football. So we all had a good time. And I want to thank, um, I'm trying to get them all right now. One of my surprise visitors was Deshaun Jones. They call him Wano, and he's become like an Instagram and Facebook success with his hair cutting. He's also one of my students that when we had our competitions with the Proud Lady, which was a manufacturer's exhibition show that was put on for 25 years. And McCoy Barber College, at one point, when we started competing within the student competitions, there was about 4, 5, maybe 6 years that we were taking first and second places without any problems at all. And this young man was one of those who was in that first place status. And I looked up and there he was. He came on out, and let me tell you, he soldiered. I tried to shift somebody over to someone else to give him a break. He said, "Oh, no, no, Miss B, I got this." I said, "All right, baby, you take care of it." He called another one of his buddies that went to school with him, and he came over. I let him use my equipment, and he was out there as well. And it was hot. Let me tell you, it was hot out there. Wasn't it hot, Earl? We had problems even getting Earl out the van because it was but I still think it was hotter last year. We had a nice breeze this year. I think last year may have been hotter. Uh, and I was grateful for the breeze. Let me see who else I said I wanted to thank here today. I got my listeners, I got my alumni and my students, and I've gotten Wanda and Earl. All right, I think I've thanked everyone that I was going to thank today. And now I just want to talk a bit about what I call intentional choices. And that goes back to when I was talking about the barbers that didn't come this year, that I know were there last year, who made an intentional choice to go somewhere else. And I'm not going to try to lecture and say, well, you shouldn't have done that. That's a choice you made, and it was your intentional choice. And there isn't a whole lot I can say about that, except when we look at what we're going to be about in our lives, and we look at who we're going to be about in our lives, there should be times when the choices are made for the gratification that comes from serving. Once you serve with no look at the rewards to come, you will be rewarded. Once you serve and you're serving just for the act of the service, not looking for the reward, you will be rewarded. But once you served and you've been given the reward for the service, then there's no more reward to get. When you build your success on things that are of a giving heart and not a heart that if I give, I'm going to get, because you've gotten. Now, if you grasp that, then maybe you can think about that, because it is not all gold just because you receive gold. That's all very fleeting. It's not always about the getting, but sometimes to receive, it's about the giving. And I know they say that a lot in church, and they talk about the tithing in church. And I'm one of those who believes even if you don't go to church, you can still tithe. You tithe when you give of yourself. You tithe like the young people that came out and cut hair because they knew it was the thing that was the right thing to do. That's a tithe. That's giving back a portion of what you have earned. And by that, in that giving, you receive even more. Your blessings come down tenfold. And the more you tithe or you give, the more you get back. I'm going to read today from, remember I told you about our PowerPoints for prosperous living. It's our digest that we have at my church, the Power Circle congregation. And I'm reading yesterday's message. It says, Divinity loves order. For this cause left I thee in Crete, that thou shouldst set in order the things that are wanting. That's from Titus 1 and 5. Sometimes in life, we find our lives in a bit of a turmoil for whatever reasons. We ask ourselves, where should we start? And we answer at the beginning. Unfolding and refolding can bring about a sense of structure that becomes livable. Step by step, we can make a little sense out of the nonsense that we have created. We must never lose focus on our spiritual goals, no matter what the clutter that oftentimes blocks the way. We can always create definitions and set parameters during our forward movements. We can have the time of our lives living and looking at all of the sights along the way. There are many of them too. Life is good because we make it good. then that goodness has a wonderful habit of overflowing into everything along the way. Kindness and generosity can become contagious, and that is always divine order. And our affirmation is I will set in order those things that require the need. Now, remember that last sentence? Kindness and generosity can become contagious, and that is always in divine order. And as you set everything in divine order, you receive. I don't believe there are any accidents. Things happen because they're supposed to. Now, I'm going to tell you, the universe was with me today because as I'm trying to get here, this car just kind of just sat there. And then he made the wrong move. He was like twixt between being in the left turn lane and the straight ahead lane. Then he decided he wasn't going to go to the turn lane. He's going to turn into the straight lane and go over to the right. And here I am coming. Fortunately, the brakes held. I said, okay, God, I guess I'm going to make it to the show. But it's little things like that that happen in our lives where just one wrong move can set your whole life on a different direction. And I won't even say it's a wrong move, a choice, an intentional choice. And that's what we're all given. We are all given these intentional choices. Even though there are things around us, and you say, well, I can't do this because of this. And if I do this, then this. Or I might hurt this person or not do right by this person. The only person you can be concerned about is you. You make the choices for you. You stand on them, you live by them. Everyone else has their own choices and they will stand on or live by their choices. So because you decide that you don't want to go down a certain path anymore, that's okay. Then everyone else will adjust and keep going the path that they're going. You may still be on the same road, but sometimes you got to walk either a few steps ahead or a few steps behind, or to the side or on an angle, but you still may end up at the same destination because you're working together. Or you may decide, I don't think I can work this way anymore. And you take a different path altogether. And that's okay. Do it with love, do it with intention, and do it so that you know it is for your own good and everything will work out well. I know this for a fact, and I know it's not always easy because I've had to make some decisions in my life, and I will have to make other decisions in my life that may not go the way other people want them to go, but ultimately, those decisions will be made because they're the ones that are going to be best suited for me. Inglewood is a very special place. And I lived in Inglewood at a time where it was going through some transition. There were still other people living in Inglewood, so it was calm. There was never I never remember um, any violence in Inglewood, even when it was making those transitions. In fact, there were a few people that stayed. They stayed until I moved on. When I went to high school, there were a few lighter expression people still there, and they stayed there until they graduated. What I love about a community that doesn't have to tear apart is when you see people say, I'm not going anywhere. I like where I am. Even now in my community in South Shore, there's some changes going on. And I feel like there's maybe what I call a recapturing, that people are trying to come back to the neighborhood. And well, that's fine by me, but I'm not going anywhere. But I do want to see my neighborhood build up, just as I'm watching Inglewood build up. No matter how much is going on, there's enough right going on. Like the young lady that sang, there were kids that were dancing, there were kids that were beatboxing and rapping. There's talent. There's always talent in our community, but there's hardly ever any place for that talent to express themselves. I know those of you that have been around as long as I have, we had talent shows when we were in high school. And even in grammar school, we had ways of creating, of being creative. And but the talent shows in high school, they were phenomenal because we had talent in our schools. We had people that went on to do things from our communities. DuSable, Captain Diet, he raised some of the best musicians in the world. And if you are a musician of a certain age and you mention Captain Diet's name, people know who you're talking about because they know the musicians that came out from under him. The Eddie Harrises. Um, Help me, Earl. Who else went to DuSable? Um, Now I can't think of them, but Eddie Harris for sure went to DuSable. Phillips High School. They had talent that came out of there. Nat King Cole is from Chicago. Uh, Minnie Riperton is from Chicago. Shaka Khan is from Chicago. All of these talented people came from Chicago. And in the theater world, we were always considered the second city because New York was like El Primo. But if you look around, a lot of the talent that is out here now is Chicago grown talent. If you look at quite a few of your television programs, there's a lot of Chicago talent out there. The whole SNL style of theater that they do on television, that came from the second city concept in Chicago. So we need to find ways to continue to nurture our young people because if they had things to do that would be creative, they wouldn't feel like they had to pick up a gun or a knife, or they don't pick up rocks anymore. You know what I'm talking about. But they had more to be able to contribute in a positive way, a lot of this would stop. I know it would. I said one of our instructors, she had a little football that she brought with her. She's throwing a football around with about three or four little guys. And they were having the time of their life. And they were thanking her for bringing the ball out to throw. So, next year, if we go back out there, we're going to have some balls out there so the kids can have something to do other than jump up and down on the stage. But all I'm saying is we need more. They've got a whole community center over there. I don't know what they're doing, but I'm sure they could probably be doing more because that's all hooked into the city of Chicago. It's all hooked, into the public school systems where they say they don't have the money to give us an education anymore. But there is money to do all these other things, build all these skyscrapers and okay, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there. But on Tuesday, that's what I was saying before I had my little attack. Tuesday evening in Ogden Park, the three gentlemen that sang will be singing again. There's going to be a whole program. It's going to start in the early afternoon, and they're going to be singing towards the end. The the Notations, that's the name of the group. Oh my, are you serious? Okay, he just made me have a flashback. When I was talking about the talent out of high schools, when I was in high school, there was a young man who, and of course, I'm not going to remember his name, but he was an early member of the Notations. He's made his transition quite a few years ago, but now I'm going to have to try and make a real effort to get out there Tuesday because I'm going to have to see if these are the same young men that sang. Well, they aren't exactly young men, but if these are the same men that sang with one of the guys that I knew from Parker High School. We sang together in the a cappella choir, which was run by Dr. Robert E. Wooten. And many of you will know about because Dr. Wooten was one of the foremost a cappella and choir directors of our time. And when we had, and that was another thing, we used to have a cappella competitions. And once a year, all the high school choirs would get together and they would vocally compete. The last time we competed, we we didn't get the superior rating. We got an excellent rating because we were told the altos, which I was one of, were a little too strong. Well, my idea was that everybody else then should have picked up, you know. But I love singing. I still love singing, and the altos are my section. Alto for life. But yes, getting back to the notations, I'm going to make that real effort to get out to see them tomorrow in the afternoon. And if you can, go to Ogden Park, 65th and Racine, and enjoy some good music. And I promise you everything will be fine. I'm going to take a little break now. And when we come back, I'm going to talk to you about a movie I saw this past week. Thank you. This is IntellectualRadio.com, and I am Miss B.
Take a real good look in the mirror. What do you see? If you cannot answer that question, be encouraged to do something about it. Be encouraged to make a change in your life and your career goals by becoming a licensed barber. Do something that you've never done before, or something you've always wanted to do, or finish what you've already started. All of these things are possible at McCoy Barber College. The barber industry needs sincere individuals who want to become licensed barbers. If that's you, visit McCoyBarberCollege.net and see how you can change your life by becoming a licensed barber. Or if you prefer speaking with a McCoy advisor, give us a call at 773-221-6700. That's 773-221-6700. McCoy Barber College, where lives change and careers begin.
I'm back. I said I was going to tell you about a movie that I saw this past week. Now I know what movie I saw. Girls Night Out. Now, ladies, that movie, is it Girls Trip or Girls Night? Is it Girls Trip? Okay, I've been corrected. It's Girls Trip, not Girls Night Out. But Lord, the night they had was a night out. But you know the movie I'm talking about, The Girls Trip, the one with Queen Latifah, Jada, and Regina, and that I believe the young comedian's name is Tiffany. It's not Tiffany. Well, I'm not getting my information right at all today. See, Tiffany. Now that Miss Tiffany, I think she definitely has a future ahead of her. Not only that, let me tell you a little story about Miss Tiffany. I was watching Jimmy Kimmel, and I just happened to catch it. He had her on the show, and they were doing this interview, and she was describing an event or a trip that she took with Jada and her husband Will Smith. They had taken her to dinner, so she decided to invite them out on it's a swamp trip, a swamp tour. Well, She comes, as she says, in her $20 a day rental car to pick them up. And Will runs out first and jumps in the back. And then she thought she was going to be riding, first class in the limousine. But Will came running out and he got into the back of the car. And Jada gets in and she looks around and she says, "Oh, the windows aren't tinted, so people will see us." And, Tiffany, if you've seen the movie, the color in the movie that she had, she pretty much had on Jimmy Kimmel, minus a lot of the words that would have been bleep, 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 bleep. They got in the car and they go to the boat, and the people, there are all these people, regular touristy people, and they're like looking around going, what's going on? And she told them that she had a Groupon. Well, it seems that Jada and Will have gotten so far removed from our everyday kind of lives, they didn't know what a Groupon was. They thought they were going on a boat that was a Groupon. And when they realized that they were going to be with the people, they had to readjust. So people started coming up to Will, and Will told him, he said, "Look here, I'm just here to enjoy the tour. And after it's over, if there's time or whatever, maybe we can sign a few autographs, take a few pictures. But we're gonna enjoy this tour right now." So everybody said okay, and they enjoyed the tour. And you had to really hear Miss Tiffany do this description. She can tell a story that will have you so tickled. And even in the movie, she was large and wanting to be in charge. I think one of the scenes for me with her was when she was going to go. She was getting fired, is what it was, because she had thrown thrown something at one of the other coworkers, and it wasn't the first time that she had done something outrageous. And the boss was trying to tell her that he was letting her go, and says, "Okay, well, I'll see you on Monday." And said, "No, you won't be coming back." Yeah, right. I see you on Tuesday, because she wasn't going to be there on Monday. She wouldn't be back until Tuesday. And when she left there, she had all intentions of coming back to work on Tuesday, no matter what this man said. But the movie, it's a little raunchy. Matter of fact, in several spots, it's quite raunchy. But what I got out of the movie was this girls' bond that they had gotten from college. And I thought about the times where I was with a group of girls and that bond. I had a bond like that in high school. There were a group of girls and I in high school, because we were regular. We weren't. There was this organization called the Tri High Y organization, and it was like a prelude to becoming sorority. What they did, they wore these little button down shirts and they dressed a certain way and they did certain things. Well, this group that I was in, we weren't buying button down shirts, and we weren't stuck to any particular style or dress or just any particular way of being. So we formed our own little group and we called ourselves the M Squares. And it was like that geometric term was M squared. Now the M square stood for morbid minstrels. Okay, I'm a little strange. We used to go around school and we would sing those little uh, campfire songs like "Great Green Gobs of Greasy Grimy Gopher Guts," "Bleeding Bloody Eyeballs Rolling Down a Dusty Street," and "Me Without a Spoon." And we sing these things in harmony. Okay, I said we were strange, and our national club day was Halloween, and we would dress and do little weird things. And when we went out, we dressed differently from everybody else, and that was just our way of having fun. It was pure innocent fun. But even to this day, when the few times that we have gotten together, we still are good friends. And then in my later years, I was with this group. We called ourselves the Ladies Club. Now, what we did was we got, and this one was a little more closer to the girls group, the posse. Uh, we would go to the excuse me, Circle City Classic in Indianapolis, where they had the Black colleges football team competitions. And we would go and accompany our friend Bonnie DeShong. At that time, she was working for a radio station, so we would go along with her because while she did whatever duties that she had to do, we hang out, we'd go shopping, and we'd go to the game. And the primary interest for us was the halftime show. And once the halftime show was over, we'd go shopping some more, and we'd eat, and we'd have fun. The highlight of that weekend would be my mother would always make a pound cake. My mom made some of the best pound cake. By the time we got up there, it was half gone. The other thing was that my dad would give us a credit card so that we could have breakfast on him on Sunday before we came back home. That was big fun. At the most, there, I think maybe about 8 of us that would go on that trip. At the least, it would be about 6 of us. And we did that, like I said, for 4 years, and we had a wonderful time. And those ladies, I miss those ladies. I'm not as in touch with them, but when we come together, we're still tight and we're still good friends. Now, the girls group, they had some issues. But what I did like about the movie is that the story was tight enough so that those issues became resolved, and they realized that they were still the posse that they always were, looking out for one another and standing up for one another. And at the end, they ended up with the bond that they should have had a long time ago. But remember, I talked about those intentional choices. They made choices and things turned a different way. But when you allow yourself to live in your truth, you can always come back to where you're supposed to be. And before I go, I've got a couple of things I'm going to read. One of them I wrote, and it's real short. It just says, as much as I want to agree that there are times when you do things because you think you have to. And I understand that, because especially when it comes to family, you feel that you have to do certain things because they are family. But even with that, we are not defined by our family. We each have our own path. Connected by blood does not determine the destination, only the determination to react to our highest self. Regardless of anyone or anything, truth is the light, even when the switch is off. So, no matter what happens in your life, once you discover the truth in yourself, the light's going to shine. There's nothing you can do about that when you work with your truth. I'm going to end today with one of Reverend Candace's positive prayers. It says, Dear God, as I relax, I let prayer give me a lift. I am transported on the wings of prayer in mind and heart. I rise above problems and concerns, and I give myself a higher perspective, a true perception of every situation I face. Thank you for being with me. I soar to new heights on the wings of prayer, on the wings of the realization that I am limitless and a free spirit through my connection with you. In Jesus Christ's name, amen. Remember, it's not over till it's over. When God is in it, there is no limit. That's a wonderful song. So just keep that in mind. It is not over until it's over. And another thing, too, remember your best is ahead of you. Whatever happened in the past has nothing to do with how you can reach your best future. This is Miss B, and thank you for coming into the garden today and joining me on IntellectualRadio.com. Have a great day.
Take a real good look in the mirror. What do you see? If you cannot answer that question, be encouraged to do something about it. Be encouraged to make a change in your life and your career goals by becoming a licensed barber. Do something that you've never done before, or something you've always wanted to do, or finish what you've already started. All of these things are possible at McCoy Barber College. The barber industry needs sincere individuals who want to become licensed barbers. If that's you, visit McCoyBarberCollege.net and see how you can change your life by becoming a licensed barber. Or if you prefer speaking with a McCoy advisor, give us a call at 773-221-6700. That's 773-221-6700. McCoy Barber College, where lives change and careers begin.